I crush the director. I crush the tiki. I crush...
The Lannisters of Casterly Rock are the most well-respected and wealthiest family in Game of Thrones. However, if we dig a little deeper into the Lannisters' financials, you'll see just how much trouble their house is actually in. And no, I don't mean that everyone in Westeros hates them and that every single one of them is a high-functioning alcoholic kind of trouble. That probably doesn't help, but what I'm talking about is the massive amount of debt they've taken on over the course of the show. The first hint we get of the Lannisters' financial situation is when Tyrion becomes Master of Coin in Season 3. After 5 minutes of looking at the Crown's books, he finds a big problem. Littlefinger has secretly been borrowing money from the Iron Bank on behalf of the Crown for years. And as of Season 3, the Crown has 6 million gold dragons in debt, with half of that being owed to Tywin Lannister. Now, this might seem like the exact opposite of what I'm trying to prove. I mean, if the Lannisters are so in debt, then why would they be lending out that much money? Well, first of all, Cersei is the queen for around 20 years, with her sons Joffrey and Tommen both becoming kings. Which means that by funding the Crown, you not only have an enormous amount of influence over all of Westeros, but also if the Crown ends up going bankrupt, then you'd simultaneously lose all of that power and allow your enemies to gain financial and strategic leverage over you. So that's most likely why Tywin is so desperate to lend out that much gold to the Crown, even if he knows that he's probably not going to be seeing it anytime soon. But we still need to get to the root of the question, which is, how do the Lannisters make their money in the first place? Sure, they rule over the Westerlands and Lannisport, but surely most of the taxes they collect from their citizens goes towards army upkeep and stuff like that. So how are they considered the richest family in Westeros? Well, in short, gold. The Westerlands which the Lannisters rule over is filled to the brim with tons and tons of gold. Or at least it used to be. Let's rewind back to a conversation that Tywin and Cersei have in Season 4.
Do you know how much gold was mined in the Westerlands this past year?
Haven't a clue.
Go on, your best guess.
Pounds, tons, ounces?
Doesn't matter, the answer's the same.
It can't be.
Our last working mine ran dry 3 years ago.
Then how do we pay for anything?
The Crown owes the Iron Bank of Bravos a tremendous amount of money.
So the entire source of the Lannisters' wealth came from their gold mines, which are now completely dried up. And now we hear that for at least 3 years, but probably even longer, Tywin has been borrowing a shit ton of gold from the Iron Bank to pay for literally everything. And yet we're still supposed to think that Tywin is one of the smartest men in Westeros. I mean, yeah, he's good at war and wedding planning, but from a financial standpoint, he's completely incompetent. When his main source of income disappears, he just whips out his credit card and goes ham. The Lannisters aren't rich, they're drowning in debt and just keep borrowing more and more money. So, everything that the Lannisters have is technically owned by the Iron Bank, which actually makes the Lannisters one of the poorest houses in Westeros. Well, until Cersei ransacks Highgarden and ends up paying off all the debt her family owes in one installment, which I gotta say is both literally and figuratively insane. I mean, the Lannisters are able to come up with 3 million gold dragons just from raiding one castle. That shit was laying around in one of the Tyrell's vaults, which means that either the Tyrells have the same money mentality as Scrooge McDuck, or that 3 million gold dragons is just a drop in the bucket for them. So the actual richest family in Westeros isn't the Lannisters, but the Tyrells. The Lannisters are pretty much broke. Everything that they own is bought with money that they don't actually have, and if Cersei hadn't paid back the entire debt in Season 7, then the Iron Bank would have probably ended up funding Daenerys' invasion of Westeros, which would have led to the very easy defeat of Cersei. Well, easier defeat. I guess if you have a medieval Apache helicopter and a ton of plot armor, then it's pretty easy to win even if it makes absolutely no sense. But hey, that's a complaint for another video. Anyway, what do you guys think? Are the Lannisters still rich, or are they penniless alcoholics? Comment down below, and while you're at it, hit that like button and subscribe too if you're not already. This has been Nerd Ranks, thanks for watching.